We are people advocating
music individuals their own who may not be this or other organizations to be involved.
Open your
Hey everybody. Kim is having a couple of technical difficulties. She will be right along. So, hi Ginger, hi Tina, hi Sue, Facebook user. How you doing? She's coming. Facebook user, just while I'm in here alone. Hi Brian, please, before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to show us who you are or tell us your name just as you're getting ready to speak. That way we'll know who we're chatting with. That would be really awesome. So I hope everybody is having a great day. Oh, look, Michelle's telling you too. Please grant StreamYard permission to show us your name. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Welcome to your own show.
I froze. I froze up big time. I had to close StreamYard and reopen it in a new window. Did the opening play?
It did. It was choppy, but it did play.
I froze. I don't know what happened there, people. Welcome to our show. Welcome to Open Your Eye. If nothing else, it's eventful, right? Working out glitches. So this didn't work out the way it was supposed to. I was completely frozen down. I was supposed to come in and introduce Cindy, but Cindy came in and introduced me.
There you go.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right? We're going to do it. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. So yeah, I'm not sure what Cindy filled y'all in on, but welcome to Open Your Eye. This is our maiden show. We will work out the glitches. I mean, I thought we did a practice run earlier and the practice run worked great. And of course, as soon as I hit that go live button, glitches galore, right? Of course, because now we're live, and that's when the glitches are going to happen. But we'll get it done. We'll get this better and better and better and better and as we go along. So what we've got going on here is, of course, we are the People Advocating Cannabis Education Network here at paceradio.net. And we've decided to branch out. We've branched out into psychedelics. Yes, the realm of psychedelics and the medicinal properties that they carry. It's helping a lot of people. And it has been helping a lot of people for a very long time. And now it's starting to get some traction in the world of medicine and get some attention. So we thought it's about time we put a spotlight on this. And I thought, what better way to do that than to team up with a fellow patient who is on the same journey as I am. And of course, that's you, Cindy. We're both on a journey using our own methods with psychedelic therapy to treat our own disorders and our own medical conditions, including PTSD and some stresses and some trauma. So glad that you could join me. And you and I are going to do our best to do some one-on-one interviews with people that are in this space and helping out people. And I thought about it some more, and I thought, well, you know, we really should include some patient interaction and people interaction into that mix. And we should bring somebody else to take care of that end and do the research part, so we can concentrate on the interviews with our guests. And who better to discuss patient needs, patient interactions, Q&As than the lovely Michelle Sikora.
Hi, Michelle.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Hope you're all doing well today. Just want to say thank you so much for bringing me into the group, Kim.
I'm happy that you said yes to join us. I was just thrilled when both of you said yes to going on this journey with us and learning more about psychedelic medicines. We are all three of us on our own journey, and we're all at different stages in that journey. We've all been on the journey for different lengths of time. And our focuses have been various. They're not all the same. So even though all of us do have a mitt or a paw in the psychedelic era and in the psychedelic medicine, we all have very different focuses, very different experiences, and very different knowledge base. So coming together, I think, is going to make one hell of a great pie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we've got a fabulous team going on here. I've already learned so much just by chatting with the two of you and learning how you're doing your journeys and what you're doing. It's allowed me to take a look at what I'm doing and possibly tweak it a little bit, and maybe get more out of my particular journey. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. It's very exciting. And, you know, part of the excitement is our audience interaction. Of course, Pace Radio Network. So radio. I've been in radio for, 6-7 years now. I've been in radio. I don't do this. I don't do video. But apparently, now I do. Now I do. So I can no longer say I don't do video, because I do now. We wanted to bring the video element into this, given the times that we live in and the migration of the planet onto the internet. We thought we should expand the radio network and include a video segment. So I'm very happy to bring the network its very first video segment that is also viewer interactive. And with that, I'd like to say hello, ladies, back to you. Hello, sir. From Mike Powell says, hello, ladies. Chadwick McGregor's in the house. Synth J Jet is in the house. Adam Serpak, D. Cochran, Sue Muse, a whole bunch of Facebook users, Tina Llewellyn, Leslie Fredericks, Stephen Llewellyn, Brian Swain, a whole bunch of people are in the house, and it is fantastic. D. Cochran as well, Ginger Chase, of course, is with us. Whole bunch of yous are here, and thank you so very, very much for joining us on our maiden show.
Yeah, we're really excited that you've come along to see us and hear us.
Yeah, for sure. You excited there? You're ready for your segment there after the break there, Michelle?
You bet I am. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm watching the comments. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that, or you can always private message me if you don't feel comfortable putting it up here. And we will do our best to have our guest answer them for you. Or, yeah.
Absolutely. And we are really, really excited about our guest, and we're not going to waste very much more time at all. We're going to get to him right now. We're going to bring in our guest. Michelle is going to hang out in the lobby while we have our chat. Don't forget, as we are having our chat with tonight's guest, please chime in on chat if you have questions for him, and Michelle will go through those questions with tonight's guest that we are bringing in right now, Mark Howard, the shaman, Mark Howard, from, of course, the epic movie Dosed, as well as VeriCity, the Psychedelic Frontier. Shaman Mark Howard, welcome to Open Your Eye.
Hi. Can you
Hi
guys hear
there.
me?
Yeah, we can see you good. We can see you good. I got to tell you, Mark, what a journey you have been on. We have viewed both your movies, VeriCity, the psychedelic experience, and as well as Dose. We viewed them on our movie night on our network, and so all of our listeners have already seen the movies. And wow, hard hitting stuff, eh?
Yeah. True story.
Yeah, for sure. So give us a bit of background on Mark. You know, we learned a lot about what you do through the movies. What set you on this path to do this?
Well, I feel like
Go ahead. Cindy, you take
got
over.
it. He's got it. Yeah, I agree. The dog is saying exactly what I wanted to say. Sure, wait, look at that turtle.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, that's her new turtle and her new flag back there. But no, that's okay, Mark. Go ahead. Tell us
The
what
turtle actually looks
brought
a
you.
lot like what you see on some people a couple days after Iboga.
Oh, yes?
Well, sometimes. So, I mean, I'm 47 now. I grew up in Hamilton, Ontario. You know, just kind of got in trouble at school here and there, but some people saw some promise. I ended up making it through, did a couple of years in McMaster University in science, then left and kind of just came out of the real world. There was always like alcohol heavily involved with my life back there. Not just back there, but everywhere. It just until I got older, I didn't realize it was just like not normal, or that it was, I don't know, it was almost like food, like, you know, like family celebrations and alcohol. And anyways, I tended to build a relationship with alcohol, which then later on turned into, you know, things like cocaine. I never got into heroin or anything like that, which was great. But to fast forward this, you know, that relationship was not always the best for blossoming my flower, let's say. And when I was 37, I got a girl pregnant, and she was gonna have a baby. We're gonna have a baby. And I was like, yikes, because, you know, and I needed to do something about that. And I was having difficulty, you know, like normal therapy wasn't working for me. I don't know why. Well, now I have a bit of a better idea. Anyways, a friend told me about this thing called Iboga. And when I heard about it, Iboga, it resonated with me quickly because it was a plant from earth, you know, just growing from the ground. And I was like, well, that seems pretty special. So I looked into it as much as I could, and I went and found a shaman in Costa Rica, and I went, and, you know, I went about 2 months before my child was born. And it was life altering, life changing. It was kind of like everything I sort of ever really would have wanted in that experience. It showed me things that I'd always thought might be real. It showed me things about myself. It showed me that, you know, that my mind and the way I think really have a real influence on the direction my life takes. And that really, you know, addiction almost became a choice, and it was something I needed to make. Right. And it's not easy. You still have to make it all the time. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of there's a lot of depth in what I'm saying. So like, you know, how does someone, you know, make a choice that's right for them or not? That's a pretty big thing, because, you know, even PTSD, where is it someone's choice to feel that anxiety, and when is it not? Like, that's the problem. What are you going to do? What are you going to take to hide it, or how are you going to get by it, or how are you going to occupy yourself over here so you're not like constantly looking here, right?
Yeah.
Well, Iboga comes in like and really like sort of an explosion, sort of levels the field.
Yeah.
You know, and it gives you an opportunity to see into yourself, what you're really made of. Expands that consciousness, you know, like using cannabis and things like that, mushrooms, anything that, you know, even some illicit drugs right now, will give you that opportunity to see beyond sort of your everyday viewpoint.
Right.
So that experience changed my life, and I knew that from then on I became involved with doing it more often over the next couple of years. Then it evolved where I began to train. I wouldn't say shaman is a pretty strong word. When you're in Africa, you really get an appreciation for true shamans. In a sense, a shaman, like I could definitely be considered an urban shaman or something like this, but you're more of a medicine provider. Shamans are, but if you look at shaman, the word, it's someone who's going to bridging the spiritual world with the physical. You're acting as a sort of bridge between two people. And so in a sense, I do that quite a bit with the medicine. It's just bringing the medicine to people so that they can use it safely, and being able to sort of translate and interpret their experience for them so that it's not such a, unknown experience. It gives it some direction, because the knowledge that's been passed down from these people that have used it for a really long time is, it's basically, I put it like, imagine trying to learn, speak English without knowing any of the alphabet and not being given any letters to put words together whatsoever. That's
right.
the thousands of years these guys have used Iboga, and they've been able to share this knowledge with us. So I trained, I learned a lot, so like 6 years ago, I started, maybe 7 years ago. Well, 8 years ago, I started working with people. And then 6 years ago, I started working with people on my own. And, so that started out in Canada. So I don't know how much time I have.
Which is touchy, right? Oh, you've got, we're open. We've got nobody following us. We do have a schedule, but it's not carved in stone. We can go over by as much as we want. I've got full reign on this, so we're all right on that. I want to touch on that in Canada. Now, doing this stuff, you're taking a big risk. You could have faced criminal charges for what you were doing. But I compare this a lot to my cannabis journey. Because I felt the same way when cannabis helped me as a medicine, and it was illegal. And I thought, well, why is it illegal if it's helping people? And I just felt like everybody should be standing on the rooftop screaming, why don't you know this? You need to know this. It's kind of the same thing, right? You're compelled to tell people because you want to help.
Yeah, and we all go through different stages in our lives. And, as you get, you see glimpses of the truth. This medicine helps you see the truth. There becomes a lot of personal risk involved. That it's not just about me, it's about my family. I have 2 kids, another on the way.
Yeah.
But that compelling nature in me drove forward. So I guess when I first began to do it, there was no real this is why I was talking about time. I'm going to really, the medicine works on people on a physical level and a spiritual level. Okay. So basically, the body's going to you got to put your clean clothes on for church. You got to get the mud cleaned. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a big statement, because someone coming in for, say they're on heroin, this medicine has a profound, amazing effect like no other on opiates, with its ability to sort of refill those receptors, or however the science is looking at this, and help someone get past the withdrawals, right? But there's also tremendous spiritual effects, and I mean, by your consciousness going into the depths of this truth and facing all these fears and everything that goes along with it. So back 6 years ago, I'm training, I'm learning, and I'm doing, opiate detoxes, and I was not, and there's the Ibogaine Therapist Alliance, and they have protocols for certain things, but I'm coming from a training of a more of a traditional aspect. So I'm kind of hitting them with medicine and the way I did it, now I know now we do things entirely different. So,
right.
But explain, back when I started doing it, you started learning pretty quick what was working and what was not. And then basically we hit fentanyl.
Yeah. The big one, right? The big one that's getting everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, so it's kind of cool that I had this, glimpse to see because, opium and heroin, the real stuff is a natural sort of thing too, right? So it seems like the medicine really just interfaced with that really well. Come in, take it, maybe take it away in a sense like that. Fentanyl was just a game changer. And on top of it, there's benzos, which are really nasty too in there. And, you know, so people are starting to use benzos and then there's meth and benzos and like, you know, all this crazy stuff. So I'm going at it hard and I'm doing all this, like, you know, seeing where it will go, doing these big sessions and working with people and like, you know, very confident in the medicine. I've seen it work so much and I just, what it does and profoundly, like, it's just, it's a no-brainer. It's like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. I really have to, like, you know, show people I can make a life. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. Determined.
Yes.
Determined to, like, you know, just, I don't know where, but then, you know, you start, like, there's letdowns and there's risks. Like, you know, then I'm in the hospital. Like, I could go on all like the show. I've been so many times telling doctors that this person's okay, and they're looking at you like they've never seen anything like it, right?
Yeah, they're not okay. They want to. They want to pump them up with the Narcan and everything.
No,
right?
It's past Narcan. It's like Narcan would be like not. It would be when it's an opiate overdose. So what I'm getting is like when you're coming in and it's a different thing. It's a after, and it's hard to explain, but they would be not something that the doctor sees from a normal withdrawal. Like it's before they need sleep, and it's a complicated thing. But like basically, I would say this: working with people, giving them doses, taking them down, working it out. But you hit fentanyl, and then you hit like, you know, doing big sessions, and it came down to basically, I don't know how much longer I could really like do this, and I shouldn't be doing the detoxes. And I was also working with an Iboga provider who is really smart, and like all the ones you see in the movie, Trevor and Gareth, you know, and then they know what I'm doing. They know what I'm capable of. And then at that point, like, you're right, like everyone's feeling the risks. But I'm also pretty confident. And so
the rewards outweigh the risks, right? You know that these people are going to have relief. You're saving a life. How much is that worth?
To a certain extent, like I've outweighed those risks now. Do you know what I mean? Like these documentaries are extremely difficult to do. There's nothing scripted or fake about them. They're like, it doesn't even scratch the surface of how demanding it is, and you know how the real people's lives are on the lines here, and my whole reputation and risk, and it's the whole thing it is pretty compelling, to be honest, because it's no joke.
Well, the documentary shined a spotlight on it. Now everybody's looking at you.
Well, yeah, and then that's good because I know what I'm doing is going to show them, and I know what the message inside the what we're saying is going to show people. I know that someone who is hurting out there is going to hear what they need to hear in that, because there's more than just the medicine. There's a whole philosophy about the way you're looking at things, you know. And so Adrienne was she was a mixed bag. So she came in with everything: the lies, the fentanyl, the heroin, the coke, the this, the that, the anxiety, the trauma underneath it all, right?
Yeah.
So I just got a message from her like yesterday, funny enough, like 2 days ago. You know, guess what today is? It's 3 years clean. Thank you so much for your help and guidance.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yay. Congratulations.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have my phone here. I show you the message. It's cool. It's got hearts, and it's just, you know, that's
amazing. You saved a life.
Well,
you know,
I mean, Iboga does the saving, and you know, I help facilitate for sure. So, you know, move forward through that experience. That was like, you know, we went to Hollywood. We were on like at the Chinese theater, and like, you know, we sold out 1,200 people at the Vogue.
Yeah,
like, spoke in front of that, and 400 people like several times in Vancouver.
Yeah,
you know, and got some good traction, but like, you know, big speakers, but then still like nothing
transpired afterwards. Everybody wants to come and hear, and then they all go quietly away and nothing happens. The ball doesn't continue to roll.
But things are happening. Like, you know, the souls are working in the background.
Yeah, definitely. It's slow. It's a slow roll. We saw this similar thing. I see the rollout of psychedelics really mirroring the rollout of cannabis when it comes to medicinal uses. It was a slow roll for cannabis, and cannabis, all of the rights that patients did wind up with, we wound up with winning in court. But I don't think that we're going to see psychedelics take that route. I think they're more accepted almost because of the road that cannabis paved. Now alternative therapies are being looked at, more readily available, and for what they are. And I think psychedelics fit into that piece. We were seeing today in Canada Section 56s. They're flying off the shelves these days. There's a sale. It's a fire sale. Get your Section 56 here, and you can use psychedelic medicines legally. Practitioners are getting a Section 56 so they can use psychedelics, mushrooms, namely, so that they can experience the effects of mushrooms personally before they prescribe it to their patients. There's a whole group of doctors that are doing that just got the right to do that from Health Canada. So there is movement, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Remember when money got behind cannabis?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're seeing now. A couple of LPs, legal producers of cannabis, are in on the psychedelics game now, and they're getting licenses to grow mushrooms.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so Iboga is a heavier potato to carry, so it kind of
yeah,
but
that's the big boy, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely it's a powerhouse, but that's the thing. It's also like, undeniable effects for positivity. Like it's just like, so imagine look at this kid out here doing this by himself, like not by himself. I have teams and people for sure, but I'm just saying, look at these small group of individuals. Look what they can accomplish, right? But it's not all like, it's not all positive. So, coming out of dose and going through that experience and then going into like, on a personal level, I'm just, from me to you guys, like I'm challenging the threshold, being safe. I have a nurse, you have him interviewed one day. He's an entire show too.
Yeah,
like
we've already been in talks. We're in talks.
Yeah, he's amazing, right? And his part is crucially important. Is everything and so anyways, moving down the line and experience, just like, obviously, let's break this up. The physical and the thing. I like to call it, like, no matter who comes in and uses the medicine, you're going to go through a detox. It's just like, I mean, maybe the odd, you can't make it as a rule. Like the odd person is going to come in and just like, and then that happens too if you're using it all right. But especially if you're in Africa, they'll make you throw it before you use it. Anyways, you should be detoxing. The detox is a part of this thing. You come in.
Get rid of everything.
Yeah, like normally our sessions are like 2 ceremonies in a week. So you come in, you do one, then wait 3 days and do another one. And so the first one is generally designed to, detoxing physically, mentally, spiritually, setting everything up on the table with what's going to happen and everything like that, getting you ready for what we call a psychospiritual. And the psychospiritual gives us an opportunity to use the medicine using a therapeutic method, which you saw on Psychedelic Frontier. And for someone who hasn't seen that, it's just, it's an engaging someone on a journey, like actually guiding their own soul to meet themselves and to engage that conversation with someone, like that we all have this voice, we have this voice. Well, what voice are you listening to, and who's the one making the right choice or decision, and who's the, this whole thing. Let's look at that, and let's get deep into that, because that is something that is carried in the traditions and was trained and taught to me, and then I've experienced on my own in Africa a lot. And that's engaging someone's soul with their very own self, and using that as a therapeutic mechanism to really get in there, and face things.
Many of the indigenous peoples around the world have something similar going on. I mean, right here in North America, we've got our North America natives. You go into the sweat lodge, you see your spirit animal, you go on a quest to seek your spirit animal. Sometimes peyote is used for journeys like that. So we see this kind of thing with psychedelics being incorporated with many indigenous peoples around the world. And I don't understand why that's feared, why that's tried to be squashed.
I think you need a show for that on its own. That there's a lot of dynamics involved in this world, and I don't think everything's bright and shiny, and some things are good, some things are bad, and
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is, but either way, what's important is your own personal truth and what you can discover without any sort of outer influence whatsoever.
Yeah.
And because that's what you pretty much came in with, and I would say you're going out with that. So you want to like build that relationship and get to know that, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess back to what happened is like, looking at, going through, and then really challenging for us, really, really doing some heavy, I'd have like psychiatrists or psychotherapists, and send me your hardest cases. We started doing some of that, and that would be something where you have someone like, with bipolar, what they're calling bipolar, borderline schizophrenia, and then involved with drugs or prescriptions. That gets really difficult. And then, so why I'm telling you all this is because there's always a detox, and then we lead up to the psychospiritual. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's two things. I'm having trouble because it's reverse on the thing. I go this way, it goes out.
I know, it's backwards. We're pointing the wrong way. We talk about that regularly. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So this is the big distinction that I really am making now, and I can see this rolling out in the future for the way things are going to go.
Yeah.
I call it pre-tox. Pre-tox is anyone who's on anything.
Okay.
Okay, like, I mean, if you're on this and you're on that, you got to come and get those things down so you can get on this, because this is what works best with Iboga or whatever it's going to be to get off of that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So you can, no matter what you're on, you're coming in.
Yeah.
And this pre-tox situation can use Iboga. It can use modern medicine, whatever they want to use. And so in Adrienne's case, that was the beginning of what Cadian, where doctors actually were allowed to prescribe Cadians. That's actually a revolutionary thing because she was at the same time. So we were able to bring her in and switch from methadone to Cadian.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was important because the methadone is really difficult, right? I mean, that's one of the worst things that you can do is to go on that methadone. You wind up with a stronger addiction, and it's more difficult to get off of. And the toxins in that can really mess you.
Yeah, I think a stronger addiction it's too much of a term, Kim, because everyone's so relative to themselves.
Okay.
But let's just say methadone is a nasty, gray, dark World War II, who knows what kind of crazy thing going on that a lot of people are on and not many get off. Let's just say that. And the other thing about it is that it couple things, like with treatments, it's difficult to treat like straight up with Iboga because just its effects with heart rates and things like that, more medically, but anyways, so what you want to do, and which is great, is try to get someone off of that and onto something more opiate formed, and anyways, and then they can use like Iboga, which works really well with that, or whatever else they're going to do
as a stepping stone to get you off.
So I guess for me to explain to you guys is that we're talking about this section called pre-tox now.
Yes.
Now both of these, so dosed is a pre-tox, and I had to deal with that. But luckily, like, what you get to see is me fighting that on one end, but over the course of it, I'm doing psychospiritual at the same time. And that's the traditional way of dealing with this. And that's why I don't do that anymore, because I want to put pre-tox into its own place. People need to be like institutionalized almost, in a sense. You can't have them running all over the place after that. You don't want them like going on anywhere. Like, you're using medicines like that. You got to be like, doctors need to be watching. You can start introducing a candle, traditional music. I don't even like, engaging in someone's like sexual abuse when they were younger at that point is like, there's no argument unless, I don't know, to do it then. Just let them watch movies or something. Let them be comfortable. Let them get over that physical dependency on whatever it is they're on.
Yeah, that's the first step. Before we can deal with this, you got to deal with what's going on in the body, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you can, like, obviously, I'm not saying you're not going to be dealing with this, and it's been done with Iboga and pre-tox, but this is me talking for what I want to do. I want someone to go professionally, medically, get them clean, and it's going to take some time, and that's why they need to be watched. It takes time. It's safe. Just, you don't have to push forward with stuff. Sometimes therapy can be difficult. Let's put it this way. Like, if you guys ever have any, like, go into the sink and you got some dried sponges under there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those really dry ones, you know?
Crusty.
Try to pour water on it. Or if you have a spill, try and use that thing.
It's not going to work. It rolls right off. I mean, you're plastic right now.
It
You
takes
can't
a bit. That's
absorb
how I look at
anything.
therapy, to like that,
Yeah.
that state, anything like
Yeah.
that. Okay. So that pre-tox is going to give someone that reabsorb that sponge, get it so that it can be working again. You know, you can wring it out and the thing is like not wet, but it's not dry. And so it absorbs stuff better.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Got to get some
100%.
moisture on there to make everything start being absorbent again.
So
For sure. Yeah.
Adrienne was get the dry sponge out of the cupboard, start trying to clean the mess up, and then like just.
It's just scattering it everywhere.
But it's effective stuff. You don't see it on there. I did a psychospiritual on her. Like, we went and talked to her cat, you know, and it's amazing what talking to your cat can do. You know, and you have to just understand how that works. When you're on the medicine and experience it yourself, it's hard to just be told things, because this experience isn't about being told anything. It's about witnessing it for yourself.
I want to stress that this is something that, you know, you don't gather with your friends, rent an Airbnb for the weekend. Somebody's going to play shaman and you're going to get some Iboga gain and cure your buddy. You know, that's not how this shit works, right?
No, it's. I think Iboga has built up a kind of force field that people kind of get that already about it, luckily, and like, you know, maybe someone will. I mean, you can like do it in small, but I mean, I don't. It would. You can, like, you could be someone who's confident and go take it out in the forest by yourself and have an amazing experience, because that's what's about, the medicine teaching you, right? But again, like, I don't know, are you going to go parachuting for your first time by yourself? You gonna go base jump off of like the Squamish Chief or something? I'm just gonna go by myself this first time because I want that experience. And I'm not saying that, because someone could probably do that. And probably
some people would want to do that, and some people might do it successfully, but many won't.
Generally, I'm light years ahead already because of the people who have taught me already in Africa. Like, you know. So, anyways, you're right, and it's also dangerous, and it is a dangerous thing. That's why I'm stressing very much like how pre-tox belongs somewhere where there's a lot of medical going on. I mean, I still have medical even in our sessions with detox psychospiritual. When people are like clean, I still have medical there constantly, right? That's a part of my thing. So
safety. I mean, you've got a human life in your hands. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're responsible.
Yeah. So, I mean, so what you're seeing there is a combination of both. And then time went on. And then I sort of like started doing sessions in Costa Rica and stopping in Canada for now until we catch up with some stuff. And then I got contacted from City TV. You know, they're doing this documentary on mainstream. Like, you know, Mark, we watched Dose. My partner watched Dose. The producer's partner watched Dose. What would you do differently on this then? And I said to them, I would like to show more of the psycho-spiritual, like, because a lot of people, their category, they turn away and stop looking when it's someone with an addiction, because they're not recognizing the addiction in them. When it's thinking about negative thoughts, they're just seeing the drug dependency. So they put this category of like, you know, that's just for addicts. Which even if they're having anything, that the addictive mechanism is similar. It's just some people have chosen a sharper sword. And so anyways, I wanted to get a little bit away from that and say, listen, it's a great opportunity to show the psycho-spiritual aspects, right? And that's when I approached reaching out to this person who I know is, you know, I've known him for a long time. It's a difficult thing. I've always wanted to try to have a shot at Iboga with him. And, you know, he was kind of at the end of his thing there. And also with the firefighter who has been through it with us already once, and, you know, and then again. So anyways, to show this. But I will say what happened with this again, and I was able to show the psycho-spiritual. That's what you've seen with him. But tremendously difficult, because like You know, my good friend Pat he had a still imagine having a very tough time with a very nasty addiction. Like, and I'm talking, these are next level addictions. And that's why I'm putting myself out here. Like, these are the ends of the things. Like, a lot of these people, like, you know, they come to me and they say to me, if this doesn't work, you know, I'm dead. I deal with a lot of like suicidal thoughts and suicidal
Last resort.
realities. You know, my nephew overdosed in December of this year with us here, you know, and he's close to us here. He just had a girl pregnant up here. Tragic story. And this is someone I'm helping with my family. Moved him out here. He's here and everything. And he had one slip up, and that was it. And so we were going through that. And I went with Pat and emptied out his room. You know, this is before the documentary was coming out in January. You know, this is some serious stuff that we're dealing with. Like, this is, you know, there's six people that have, well, it's just there's 6 people that have died that I've worked with closely, even with psychospirituals. Like, I mean, I can't keep up and like chase everybody all the time and give them what they
Very
need.
difficult. It's a big burden. I mean, you've got big shoulders.
Well, the burden is translated. Listen, if that burden sat on me, I'd be crushed. So the burden, it comes through, and I know I've given these people an opportunity to make amends and have some peace with the soul. But I also know that, you know, like, it is what it is. You know, you do your best, and
that's all you can do.
But it's going to take more than Mark Howard. It's going to take, you know, because there's so many good providers out there just waiting to happen. And, you know, and it's the medicine, really. It's just, you just got to, it's not me. It's me because, I mean, I'm particularly good with understanding the safety and use of the medicine and being able to translate it to people and just help with the medicine. Like, Iboga likes me because I can get Iboga into people's mouths.
Yeah.
But I like Iboga because, like, no one's going to come to, like, well, Mark Howard's having a session next week in, you know, Pemberton. Oh, really? I thought he wasn't doing Iboga anymore. He's not. It's just him. Like, it's not gonna do very much.
Yeah, I think you might be surprised. I think you. I
understand that too, because I've also had a lot of really influential shamanistic people in my life that have taught me a lot. So, I mean, there's a lot of me that goes with it, but that can be everyone and people too. But the medicine, when you do it, you'll understand what I meant by that. It's just like really extraordinary. So quickly rolling into this new documentary really took on a really next level thing again. But again, this was to show. So wrapping it up, I started out with sort of addictive stuff. And what I realized is after I got over that, is this amazing inner spiritual work that I was able to accomplish, like using this medicine, and then going to Africa and having these profound initiations and rites of passages and the trainings, and then the working with hundreds of people and the leading into dosed and putting everything out there and being on the edge of your seat, like speaking in front of 1,200 people and seeing big business come into it and sitting in boardrooms now and watching that and how that is and isn't going to work. And, you know, working with, like, sitting with big figures, you know, like, and talking to them, you know, people who are
blew
really
up.
Well, yeah, it blows up. And then I laid down doctors. I've laid down like 10 doctors and psychotherapists, psychiatrists, you know, and understanding that the medical system, you know, they talk to me like doctors, because it is. So what we're dealing with, like you guys with cannabis, is you guys are steadfast on your journey because you know the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, so this is just our goal is just to remove the obstacles and the blocks that are preventing people from getting to the truth. And then once they get to the truth, allowing them to use this medicine safely so they can start removing their own blocks to their own truth.
Absolutely. 100. You know, I'm really happy that City TV partnered with you to make, you know, the Psychedelic Frontier, because as you said, it did shine a different spotlight. You know, many people looked at Dosed and went, oh, that's the one for drug addicts,
Yes.
you know, and they put it out of their mind. It didn't have a relevance in their particular world, you know, but then when you shine that spotlight and say, look, it's the exact same therapy, it's the exact same guy, we're going to do the same thing. But this guy is doing it because of PTSD. Let's not put the focus on the fact that, yes, he does suffer from addiction. Let's focus on the fact that he has addiction because of his PTSD. And now it involves veterans. Now it involves the good men and women that are out there protecting us, you know, and serving our country. And that kind of makes everybody go, oh, well, what's that now? You know, and now we're looking at it differently. It opened different doors. It opened different eyes. And it's coming with more acceptance because of the people that it's treating, rather than it be the guy from downtown Vancouver's Lower East Side. Now it's the guy that just got off the boat or the plane from Afghanistan, and that makes a difference. So I'm really glad that City TV did the Frontier for you. I'm looking in the chat right now, and I see gazillions of questions. We are already way over time. I don't give a shit. We're going overtime, but we do have to break for a commercial. We've got to pay some bills in here from some of our sponsors. Now, because of my little glitch that happened earlier, I don't happen to have it loaded, so I'm going to have to do the share screen thing. So it might take a few seconds for it to start playing. But in the meantime, we're all going to hang out in the lobby for a few minutes while we hear from about a 4-minute commercial break from our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll be bringing Michelle Sikora in with us to do some Q&As from our live audience here at paceradio.net on our maiden show of Open Your Eye. So stay tuned, and Cindy and I will be right back after the break. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your herboricultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in phone or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
Pace Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com. Contact us for curbside pickup as well as wire shipping.
Legacy
of Legacy 20.
Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we are coming back. Our joined host in and get
welcome back,
going
folks.
Around this in
Kim is breaking up a little bit there. I don't know if you can
break. They're paying some bills back, everybody. All right, it's going to bring in joint host with us next. Up on top, of course, is the lovely Michelle Sikora. As soon as I can get her to add her to stream. There we go. There she is. And let's bring our amazing guest for this evening, today's maiden show, back in again as well, Mr. Mark Howard from IbogaSoul. Awesome to have everybody back after the break. Thank you very much to our sponsors and to our viewers for listening to our sponsor messages. We're back again, and we're having a great in-depth convo with Mark about how he got his embarked on this journey that he's been on, and how he goes about helping people and what it means to him, and all that he's done. And we've got some quite enthusiastic listeners out there, don't we, Michelle?
Yes, we certainly do. I just seen everybody was showing their kitty cat, so I had to show Olivia too.
Right on.
It's been great.
Yeah, I noticed a whole bunch of questions by.
Yeah, I got a bunch of questions written down from our viewers. I've got a few written down that I came up with as well, and some that people sent me privately. And during the conversation, you already answered quite a few of the questions that I had written down, but that's great. I'm glad everybody's tuned in. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Awesome. Yeah, Mark, Michelle, Mark. Yeah, and StreamYard, everything goes backwards. So right now, from my perspective, I'm going to point to Cindy.
Yeah, there's Kim.
She's Yeah, it does like a mirror thing or something going on. It's quite interesting. It gets confusing sometimes. It definitely gets confusing when you're trying to point to somebody. You got to point the opposite way. I noticed several questions flying by. When we were closing off there, Mark, before the break, we were talking about the difference in perspective once PTSD was brought in on the scene, and showing the experiences with this medicine concerning, mental stress from, like, say, a veteran. That changed the whole game and opened everything up for new perspectives from many people. And now a lot of people have questions, eh?
Yeah.
Yes. I've been writing them down as they've been coming in, still writing them down. I hope I can read my own chicken scratch that I got going on.
All right, fire away, Michelle. Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, it was just wanted to mention last night I was watching Explain the Unexplained, and it happened to be a show about the Tiahuanaca people from Bolivia, and they were talking about they were exploring their ruins and that, and they found evidence in artifacts as well as images carved on the walls that the Tiahuanaca people used to snort psychedelics in ritual experiences 2,000 years ago. So I thought that was really interesting. I had to write that down because we're coming on today to talk about this. And I'm like, wow, just like cannabis, this has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And people haven't been paying attention. And I'm so glad that there's people like you, Mark, out there bringing it to the forefront and all these documentaries and that, and, bringing awareness to it. So it's fabulous. So, yeah, I'm just going to start getting to the questions here. If you're all good with that, Mark, there's a lot of people who have questions for you. So this one came to me last night in a private message. A viewer would like to know, how can psilocybins or psychedelics help chase away nightmares?
Well, okay, so let's look what's a nightmare. It's I don't think it's not going to chase it away. It's going to make you more accepting of it. And that's an important thing, right? So if you turn it into what is it? So someone's getting bothered. So for some reason that the images that they're seeing and, you know, are bothering them. So it would give them more insight into understanding them maybe, and maybe then looking into like, as to why they're getting them, and maybe changing some sort of patterns that are possibly creating them. Like, why are they having them? You know what I mean? Like, I can't necessarily say, and again, psilocybin is, it's not like my forte. I mean, I did a lot of mushrooms when I was younger and stuff like that. You said psilocybin, right?
Yes, psilocybins or psychedelics, because we, you know, there's a lot of research on both right now.
Yeah, so the word psychedelic too, like, and that's good because, you know, I'm a kind of a hippie kid, but with Iboga, it's considered, I think, a psychedelic, but it's a medicine that's going to bring you a lot of truth to you. You know what I mean? The medicine is going to bring a lot of truth to you, and so when you see that truth, you start, you know, where's the nightmare scene? You see it on the screen, right? You see on what screen? Where you're looking at, like, somehow that screen is consciousness to you. So I think being more aware and around what it is you're looking at, like, you know, like they always say that the truth will set you free. So if you feel like you're being imprisoned by these nightmares, maybe it's time that these medicines could really help bring you to those fears and face them. You know, once you get an opportunity to face them and to learn about them, either they're not going to occur because, you know, they're not going to happen, or it's the same as if someone, like, say, had a bad breakup and, you know, they can't get over it. You know, they would have to, like, eventually understand that it's over, and they're going to have to accept that it's over, and they're going to have to make that choice on their own. So they have this saying in Africa, like, care not to care. You care about yourself so much that you don't care about that person anymore because it's affecting you so bad. Your ship is being sunk by all these holes you're putting in it every day, right? And so care to not care, in a sense, applies to this, because how far are you going to allow these nightmares to run your life, you know? So there's that, is beginning to understand them and to learn to accept them and to learn from them and to move forward and possibly not have them occur so much. So I say that psychedelics could help with that.
Okay, so it's kind of like almost like what you guys were talking about, like a lot of people when treating with either psilocybins, Iboga, you know, and people think addiction right away, but their addiction is stemming from something else. So getting to the direct, right? So it's almost like you're getting to the root of the problem, you know, with the nightmares aspect, if you can bring it up, because, you know, our nightmares come from our subconscious. So if you can use psilocybins or psychedelic to get deep into that subconscious and deal with those underlying issues, would you think that those nightmares would go away then?
Well, I would say there's a lot better possibility, for sure. I mean, you're that's the spiritual world speaking to you, you know what I mean? And so something's not aligned, and a lot of time it could be from something you've done wrong or trauma, or it's something, you know, and that's what this medicine experience, you know, it's going to give them a great shot at understanding it.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned spirituality a lot, and you know, doesn't necessarily, or does it mean religion? Because I know some people can have different religions, or some people can just be spiritual. Like myself, I consider myself to be a spiritual person, not necessarily a religious person. So the difference there, like.
Well, so the difference is, like, I could have a Jehovah's Witness come to the door right now, and we're both living, you know, and she's going to have a set of beliefs. Right. She's going to have a religious set of beliefs, and that's okay. And she's being spiritual too, because she's just being real in reality. But, you know, those beliefs might not line up for everyone.
That's right.
Spirituality.
We're all human. We're all human, but that doesn't make us all the same.
Yeah. So I'd say religion's more of a set of spiritual beliefs, which is, you know, and if someone incorporates that into their spirituality, you know, what the shamans used to say to me is spirituality is just being real in reality.
I like that. That. Yeah.
So spirituality is being real in reality. They always say this too in Africa, like, you know, hey, we have no problem with religions. Oh, you better get the plug for the things that's about to go out. We have no problem with religions, but, you know, just kindly leave all of this stuff at the front of the temple. because the big thing about the tradition that we with Iboga is that it's to know, right? So there's a big difference between the word belief and knowing. And these medicines help you know. They help you know the truth. They help you know the experiences. They help you get to the bottom of the truth. You know, and that's past the belief system, because you can be believing in something 100% and you're still just believing in it. Yeah. So I'd say, you know, spirituality is more of a knowing. It's the truth that resides within all of us. And whereas religions, they tend to pick up, you know, a set of belief systems. Like, you know, we might call like Iboga church. So we'd have to say that we want to start an Iboga church because we're a group of people that have that beliefs. But aside from governments and politics and every other thing, we know Iboga would be a great thing to just do for personal, you know, like with native groups, they use a lot of plant medicines and ceremonies as well. So knowing and believing is a big difference.
Well, I can definitely say I've been microdosing, my husband and I, for 3 years almost now, and it has definitely made me dig deeper into my spirituality and where all that comes from. So it's definitely been a blessing for me. So got a couple more viewer questions here. Christy French has a question. She's actually got a couple. What is the dose that everyone starts with? And what do you think of heroic doses?
Are we talking mushrooms or Iboga? I bet you we're talking mushrooms.
I believe so. Yes, mushrooms.
And it's okay, because I mean, really, it's kind of so the way I've been trained is to work by people's tolerances. So I'll be like analyzing, watching, and looking at a lot of different things, physical and spiritual and mental, to sort of gauge, you know, how someone's going to react. And then I start out like, you know, fairly slower, and then I have a really good understanding, and I'll take them right to their limit. Yeah. So in terms of heroic doses, that's where we get some stuff done. That's where some real good stuff happens. Like, you know, you want to get below and in or up or out. Penetration, you want to get deep into that experience to really sort of like push you past the normal reality you've been existing in. With mushrooms, I would say like 0.5 gram, 1/4 grams. A gram is like, you know, those are just like microdosing and moving up. Heroic doses are like, someone contacted me the other day and their kid went and decided to do 10 grams and go in his bedroom.
Wow.
He got a lot of good experience out of it, but it was dangerous. Like, I mean,
that's too much.
His parents were freaking out. He couldn't even talk. He couldn't even remember the experience.
No,
and
that's
he did
right.
it with nobody, and he wanted to, like, you know, and so.
That's too much. You've got to be careful. Like, heroic doses are well and good, but take some precautions. Have somebody with you. Have something going on. You know, you don't do these things on your own in any other situation. So why would you do it with this? Be smart. Exactly, Cindy. Be smart about it. Exactly.
And remember this too. The important thing, Cindy. But what about the kid who took 10 grams the other day? Or especially with Iboga, someone might say, you know, I can handle it, right? But a lot of times they're coming from this place where they've done a LSD or they're used to doing stuff. They forget about the physical nature and then so when someone's all of a sudden incapacitated and they're trying to walk out and they fall down and hit their head, or they, you know, stop. It's just there's two things more than the mental ability to handle a medicine. It's the physical power that these things can just like unleash.
That gets me to one of my other questions was, why is it so important to have medical professionals around when you're doing this?
Oh, well, you know, they're at football games. They're at ski hills. So I'll put you an example for myself. Like, I don't want to scare. Like, it doesn't matter.
We're all adults. It's okay.
Well, it's just I was working with First Nations woman one time, and I this is back, and I would get nurses, and I had a first aid nurse come for the first time. They never even come, and they didn't even heard of Iboga, and I'm explaining that you know, it should be a really relatively safe night. It's no addictions, like no physical drugs involved, right? Anyways, like this woman went into a full seizure. Like in the middle, like I was doing a sacred spiritual on someone beside her, and I was watching, and I was like, I'm trying to, and I was wrapping mine up, right? When you guys remember when Pat got startled when I lifted up his eye thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not supposed to do that, but it's just okay with me because what I'm showing is that's how far he is, and you have to bring someone back. So
Yeah.
I had to. You can't just leave someone flying around.
No,
and
you can't leave them there. You
pack
took them
up
there. You got to
photos
bring
of
them
the-
home.
Yeah, so I was bringing this person home on what I was doing. I could look over and see what was going on. By the time I got over there, full seizure. I didn't know what a full seizure looks like. Looked like a heart attack.
Yeah.
So I ran and got my first aid. Girl was running up. She's like, call the ambulance. I'm looking for the phone. She finally got over to the lady and she was like, it's a full seizure. It's okay. Got her tongue out of her mouth, put her on her side, got her up. I started doing something that I do to bring the medicine down a little bit. And she monitors her heartbeat. Her heartbeat's doing this. I'm talking more to calm this person down medicinally, shamanistically, like I know how to do, to get that mental and spiritual state down, get the panic out. They're doing the medical thing. I have no idea. I'm not a trained, like, someone going into Trussauds and I'm going to start doing CPR on them because their heart rate's good. People have heart attacks and like things on a normal, like even if there's nothing to do with the medicine, if someone goes into one thing, I'm responsible because I have them on medicine at that point. It's my point of care.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's absolutely critical to have somebody around you that knows what the hell they're doing, especially if you're going to do a high dose. Don't just go willy-nilly.
A lot of people can do it. I have friends who don't do it. They've been doing it forever, and they're giving people high doses, and But I mean, this comes down to personal choice, and we're in Canada.
Yeah,
we're
in Canada. That's right. You're taking your shit. You're taking a risk, no matter what. And
in the long run, like reality-wise, is like a very large percentage of people really like knowing that there's just someone there. Like Patrick's job is that he doesn't. He's very good at getting to know what I do now, but I don't do what he does. I've had people like come running out of the rooms, like choking and projectile vomiting or like passed out or choking or coughing, or we go because of like dehydration. Like people got to understand, like someone's energetic levels in their body, their electrolytes. And so you get someone start dehydrating or throwing up too much or going to the washroom or they're upset about this or becoming bulimic or even anything, That's the physical episodes. And then you can actually get mental episodes where like, you better strap on your bootstraps. If you're in Africa, they're going to do like a full like soul retrieval. And that's like, to watch that in real life is your mind will get blown right out your ears. Yeah. That someone's that far gone and a shaman can do this certain thing to them and close the lid back up on their head and put their soul back in their body. And they come to like nothing happened. It's like,
it's amazing, right? Like that's
fascinating.
Amazing.
Yeah,
kind of leads me up to my next question. I just had this one sent to me. A viewer would like to know, how come some microdoses can cause sadness or tears?
Well, again, so here's the thing about dosing is what are you taking it? You're trying to get an effect. Okay, let's just baseline that. Even with a microdose, you're not taking it for nothing to happen. Even it's a small little effect. But you go to one of my sessions and you're going to be bracing up for a big effect. Okay. Now, what effect are you going for and why? Let's look at that. Okay. If you take something in the morning before you go into work because you want it to affect something to do emotionally or psychologically, I feel like during an eclipse, you're going to miss the ceremony. So. Right. Then you look at a bigger session with me. I'm making sure I get someone totally prepared. We're in a ceremony. We have a circle. We talk around the circle. I've already prepped them for the day. We talk around the circle for an hour or two before we even start doing medicine. And then there's this big truth talking all the way getting to where, and we have this experience where someone's in the medicine now and we can bring it all together, get that work done, close it up, and let the spirits and the Iboga and the person just unwrap the rest. Okay? So we're taking something for an effect. So it's this person who's asking, again, what? They want to know why sometimes it causes sadness or
or tears.
Well,
tears
because,
and sadness.
I mean, when someone's lying on their deathbed and they close their eyes, often it's said that you'll see tears run down their face.
That's right.
And that's because the shamans used to say, because you're finally facing the truth for the first time, some of these people. And this is what we do a lot in this realm right now, is we're doing this in the world. We're facing the truth with these experiences. You know, like when you get a massage and you have something really deep, they push into that knot like crazy and it hurts so bad.
Hurt.
But, you know, then it released it.
That's what I think too. I mean, our brains are so powerful, and with our subconscious, things can get buried so deeply that we don't even realize what is actually affecting us and how we treat people, how we perceive everything. And then when we can find something that's going to start bringing that up to the surface, we got to find a way to deal with that, right?
Peeling an onion.
Probably where that sadness and tears is coming from for some, like Adriana, you know, she had that underlying trauma that happened to her, and she could remember a house, but she couldn't remember what happened in the house, right? It's that underlying trauma that she had to bring up and deal with, right? To be able to move on.
Yeah. And in the very end, when she said, you know, it doesn't matter about a house, it could be this or it could be that, you know? Yeah. And I just wanted to also, an interesting point about that was, here's a good thing for you guys. So CPTSD, have you guys heard of complex post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yeah.
And that's like usually where, like, say, for an example, like a trauma happens at a really young age, like really young sexual abuse, say, or losing a parent really young. Okay. And it's where like these traumas happen in a developmental stage, and this trauma can actually become interwoven and interfabricated into the physicality. Where does the line between the physical and the spiritual exist? That's us.
Yeah. Well, that's actually poignant that you talked about that, because when I was going to wait until later, but we'll throw it in here now. That's when opportunity knocks, you take it, right? You know, when I was waiting for Michelle to finish with some of her questions, but I was going to bring Cindy back in because she's been listening intently to everything, and I noticed that her camera just went to her photo, and I know it's because of the subject matter you just brought up. You know, Cindy, that's exactly what Cindy is battling, is CPTSD. And that's exactly what she deals with, and which is a large reason why we did this show, was to, it's part of her journey that she's been on with microdosing, and she wants to go further, and she wants to do stuff like, you know, we've been researching and talking about stuff like resets. You know, have been a lot in conversation these days of late, and within the cannabis community, expanding into using stuff like mushrooms, lion's mane, Iboga, you know, so that's why we are where we are today. Is because of what we're all going through. My diagnosis is PTSD. Cindy's is CPTSD. So we're all dealing in our own way, and we've all been trying different things, and we're wanting to learn more. And Cindy is getting ready to embark on her journey. She wants to do an Iboga treatment with someone. She's planning on a trip as soon as we're able to travel again, and this is going to happen for her. So this is extremely personal at this point as well, and I'm glad she's back, and I'm hoping that you can gumption the ability to speak to this.
Everything that you're saying is true. I suffer from CPTSD, and I have since I was 7, and I'm 49 now. And it came from childhood sexual trauma that lasted for about 3.5 years. I have been microdosing for 2 years now. And when Dosed came out, it really hit me in the heart. Like everybody else, I kind of just watched it, and I was told, seek and ye shall find. So I seeked for a couple of years until the Psychedelic Frontier came out. And while watching the Psychedelic Frontier, I messaged you in particular, and you gave me the link to speak with Elizabeth. And I did. And Elizabeth and I had a lovely conversation. She helped me so very much. And she gave me another name because I have a fear of traveling outside of Canada. So she gave me another name to reach out to. And I did. And I'm extremely happy to confirm what Kim just said. You know, sometime in the next couple of months, I do plan on traveling to Vancouver and taking my reset ceremony. And I spoke with that person for over a half an hour the other night on the phone. And I'm super excited because, I mean, I've tried in my past to to hide it with booze or cocaine.
Well, that's just it. It leads to addiction. This is what leads to the addiction. So let's get at the root.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I eventually got on 9 different meds. Benzos were the big ones.
Yeah.
And I have been clean off those with cannabis for, 5.5 years now. And I'm really proud to say that. But lately I have had the call to go back on everything. My psychiatrist has refused them. And every time I walk past the liquor store, I have booze screaming at me to come, hey, I can help you forget. And I don't want to go that way. And I was having those feelings while watching the Psychedelic Frontier. And I'm beyond happy that I watched it and I got the courage to reach out, because it's led me to the fact that I'm going on a reset ceremony, and I'm beyond excited, and I feel like my journey is really, really kicking off, and I just can't wait.
Yeah.
What are you going to use?
For sure.
Sorry?
What are you going to use?
I believe it's Iboga. Yeah, it's with Garrett.
Oh, it's with Garrett. So you're going for more of a dependency situation in the beginning?
I'm not really sure. Like we chatted, and he knows that I'm not in an active addiction right now. So he came up with an idea, but he wanted me to fill out his intake form before we really planned anything. So I'm just in the stage of I've got the intake form to fill out and to send back. But my psychiatrist is willing to go through the steps with me. She's very open to learning. So I'm so excited.
Cindy's going to doing her paperwork for Section 56 and use psilocybin therapy legally.
Yep.
Who's doing that?
Cindy.
Oh, you've already done it, or that's what you want to do?
I'm in the process of applying. Yeah.
Okay, great, good. Garrett's like amazing. So I mean, I just was on the phone with him 2 days ago for a whole bunch. Yeah, it's true, and I'll tell you this something straight up right now. Okay, like I have had the most insane cases of women with sexual abuse, young or guys. I'm just saying, like PTSD, like where it's like I've seen that like just crazy cases where girls, their lives are unrecognizable to what it was.
Yeah.
Like I can hook you up.
Look at the smile. Look at. She's jumping for joy. She can't wait. She's so excited to do this.
Yeah, there's a girl in Dose that you see in the one circle there that it was like, so good for you. And, you got to get in. You just got to go right in there and you'll just realize, you're a lot better than that. That's where it's going to come for you. I'm telling you, is loving yourself. Okay. Eventually when you're going to, and it's that care to not care, that you love yourself more than that pain anymore. Like it's just,
Well, I have to be honest, because of these 2 documentaries and, giving me the guts to reach out to you and you, guiding me towards talking with Elizabeth, everybody has already made a huge influence on my life. And the voice that is coming from the liquor store is already a lot quieter just because I feel like I've got people in my corner. And it's a really great feeling. Yeah. And your documentaries haven't even just done that for me. I've shared them with them. I'm a veteran as well. So I've shared them with my veteran friends that suffer from combat PTSD. And, it's making its way. It's huge.
Well, that's really good. That was the point of Psychedelic Frontier for me personally, was like, because I know what I got to do to get it. Because I know that what we're talking about, like not only the veteran there was a firefighter there, right?
Yes.
And they're rated like the number 1 most respected figures of society.
Yeah.
And police and doctors, like, next, so I'm glad you guys are all saying this, because that's what it was meant for, because I know this works. It's going to help. Like, it'll be amazing. And then it'll be like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Mark, my husband was addicted to prescription narcotics for 25 plus years. 5.5 was Oxycontin. They switched him over to methadone. Told him he was going to have to be on it for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And he actually weaned himself off of methadone within 13 months with just using cannabis. But it was when we started microdosing psilocybins 3 years ago that I seen an even bigger change in him.
That's when the big
change happened. He had already been off of all pharmaceuticals for a few years at that point. But it was really life-changing, and it was such a slow graduation that we didn't even realize it until we looked back in retrospect to see such a big difference, right? So, but yeah, you really touched him watching those shows. Like he broke down and cried. It was because especially with Adrienne, because of her addiction to methadone and what the doctors told her, and he didn't realize how bad methadone was compared to all of the other narcotics that he had been taking. He had no idea. So in seeing that, it really, really touched him, which, it was very heartwarming that time. But I do have some more questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, now we've covered that. I popped that in the middle where it was supposed to go on the end, but opportunity knocks, so I had to take that shit. Now we're going to bounce back, and we're going to finish off with questions from Michelle while I work in the background a little bit, okay?
So Susan Jeffrey has asked, does it work with somebody having bipolar, whether it be psilocybins, Iboga? Like, what would you suggest would be the best route for somebody that's got bipolar and would like to try a different route than pharmaceuticals?
I had a call the other day from a girl that I treated about 4 years ago, and she came in with like what she was diagnosed with bipolar. I'm going to try to remember what happened in the Iboga ceremony, because it was afterwards during the night. Yes, it does work. I would say I just a personal knowing, I've seen a lot of examples where it definitely does work. Because bipolar to me, it's extreme, like just disassociation away from oneself. So I would say though, when you start getting into where it's like actually schizophrenia, it gets a little more difficult, but these things are all possible. But again, when you have schizophrenia, a lot of times you get people who are on medication for it.
Yeah, I think with my own experience as, a cannabis professional, I've seen a lot of people who are been diagnosed with bipolar or ADHD or, some form of mental health issues, but it actually boils down, like we've already talked about, to underlying traumas that they just haven't dealt with, and our body's stressors react in different ways. So yeah, I would definitely have to say, doing that would help, because again, you're getting to the root of the issues.
Well, it's this truth that comes out. It's this amazing way that your own soul and spirituality and these angelic, like positive beings have a way, like, because I remember lying, she was like losing her, she was having a rough time. Iboga was bringing a lot of stuff up to the surface, right? And she's like, and we were struggling, having a hard time. I was telling her to do this or working with doing this. And, she wasn't like quite listening to me. But it was funny because then there was a part where she was like, and these fucking voices out the window, they're there right now. These ones have been talking, like, they're there right now telling me, that I should just tell you to get out of the room and that you're no good and that I should just ignore you. And I said, well, listen, I said, stop listening to them. You're not listening to a goddamn thing I'm saying to you. So I know you know how to not listen. Stop listening to them. And the voices were like, she said, because this was a big point for her, because later on this meant a lot, man. She actually conquered this. She said, the voices said, oh my God, we like this guy. He made sense. And then it was a breakdown.
She stood up to my ass.
Over the next week, because then she recognized that they were repeating themselves, and that they were repeating themselves, and that they were repeating themselves. The medicine made that happen. Like it made it happen like that. And then she was like, she saw that and then it began to break down more. The truth, these barriers, this illusion she was living in, because she wasn't listening to her soul. Your soul always wants the best for you and the family around you. Okay. And oftentimes, especially with sexual abuse and really young people, we're able to journey. And it's the hardest thing. Can you imagine having to go face this person who abused you?
Yeah.
But the Iboga does it. It brings someone right there, you know what? And like face to face with this person. And, you realize that usually what happens is you just realize that you're much more beautiful than you ever thought. And that the person is a person too. And that they didn't know and they don't know, and you break down the fact that it's just not worth giving any more attention to them, and you decide to pay attention to you.
Right on. Very cool. Michelle, we're going to narrow it down. Pick one more question.
Okay, so sorry guys. Hopefully we can get the other ones answered at another date. But
yeah, we can always do ask Mark off the air and ask him to give us some quick answers that we can answer in the comments as well later on.
Because we've been talking about trauma and things like that, I'm going to pick this one. It came from Christy French. Can you tell us about the childlike state that happens after dosing?
Yes.
Okay, so, well, it was fairly dramatic in the movie Dose as well because we're dealing with addictions.
Right.
And so you get a lot of weird little things happening sometimes there, which, again, why it's perfect just to get someone clean. Yeah. But someone clean coming in, it's because it's like a rebirth. It's like it's going to blast you in light. You know, you're like that baby baptized and you're just washed. Like anything that happened this week, last week, you know, most people can't remember their last 3 problems, you know, past their last 3 problems, right? Because we keep renewing with more problems and more problems. But there's those really old ones that you've been renewing. So, you know, you're going through, you're going through almost like, where'd you come from to begin with before you were even born? What kind of spiritual light are you? You know, what is your soul? And you're going in and you're stepping way back on the moon and looking back at this life and making choices now based on that.
You have to learn all over again.
So, you know, you're almost looking at the world through childlike eyes.
Interesting.
So whether or not that's going to, you know, you're going to see that on the outside or you're going to feel it on the inside is up to your own experience. But it's definitely, you know, a reset or not even a reset, a rebirth.
A rebirth.
It's a great opportunity to like unsolve some of the problems you've had in your life.
Yeah.
Laura Lindsay, I'm sorry I didn't get to your question.
Real quick?
Another one? Okay, quick. So,
real quick.
If you lost a sister and it was traumatic, do you think mushrooms would help or would give you a bad trip?
Basically, if you're in a bad place when you do mushrooms, will you go on a bad trip?
If you have safe people around you and, you know, the bad trip is facing all that. She's facing that bad trip every day. So, I mean, like where's the bad trip? Is it happening every day in life? Like, so if you do it with someone very safe, let's reterm the bad trip. Let's call it facing the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Yeah. So bad trips. I mean, sometimes it's looking
that's
at things.
That's fear coming through right now. That's her fear coming through, and you can understand that. That's a fear, right? But if you're surrounded with love and mushrooms, like it's not even toxic on like a huge scale level. Like they're fairly like, you know, and with Iboga,
fairly benign body. Yeah.
With Iboga, we're doing that. We're going in. A bad trip, I would reterm it as a successful medicinal journey.
There you go.
Laura lives close to me. We can talk more about that, Laura.
There you go. Successful medicinal journey. And I think that's a perfect place to end this extremely long, very first maiden sesh of our brand new show, Open Your Eye, which incidentally, you mentioned, you know, when you were speaking, Mark, when you were talking about the shaman and how the shaman leaves their body and they go on the trip and then they come back down and they kind of put the cap on their self after their journey and that's kind of where the inspiration for the opening of this show came from. I'd like to make mention at this time about our opening music segment was written by and made DJ'd by my son Graham Snape. Made our opening music intro. The lyrics were later added by one marvelous musician, S.E. Thomas, did the vocals on that track and put it together for our opening. There's a little bit more at the end for our closing as well. Big whoops and shout outs to both of them for doing a marvelous job. And we the inspiration for that came from Doctor Strange, the movie. And the ancient one in that movie pokes the guy in the head with her thumb and says, open your eye, and pokes him in the head, and he leaves his body and he goes on this journey and then goes whoosh and comes right back into his body, and you can kind of see the cap go on. And that is the vision that I had when you were talking about the shaman leaving their body and coming back and putting the lid back on. That's kind of the vision that I had, and I thought, yep, that's where our show came from.
Hold on. I just want to clarify that really quickly. What I was talking about was someone who was like in a confusional state. So somebody was in a confusional state, and the shaman went outside with the torch, brought their soul back in, called it, and opened up the lid on the patient, and put the
it back
patient's
in.
soul back in, and then the patient came back in. But not to say shamans don't do that too.
Yeah. It was pretty much the same thing. The ancient one kind of did that to the guy, and then he went out, and then she grabbed him and went boof and pushed him back in, right? So it was kind of a similar thing going on with that, and that's how we got our show created and our opening created, and so it's kind of fitting. So thank you. Thank you so much for being our first guest. I really appreciate you joining us. It's been highly educational, and I'm sure we will have to have you back on because I could talk to you more for hours.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome sauce.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mark. I appreciate it. And peace out, man. Thank you for joining us. And we will be back again with you at a future date for sure. Everybody, that was Mark Howard, Shaman Mark Howard from IbogaSoul. And of course, lovely Michelle Sikora and the awesome Cindy Howell sitting in as joint hosts here on our maiden show of Open Your Eye. I hope you enjoyed it and you tune in with us again 2 weeks from today. We will be back twice a month on the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday, each and every month at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, broadcasted here on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/Open Your Eye Show. Can also be heard on the Pace Radio Network, where our audio will be uploaded to the station for you can hear it on replay at any time. And we will be back next week with our very special guest. And I'm going to make the announcement right now. Very special guest. We got Dana Larson. Yep, that's right. Dana Larson is in the house 2 weeks from today to talk about the Coca Leaf Cafe in Vancouver and some wonderful mushroom tests and some wonderful teas and extracts that are going on and helping some marvelous people. So we look forward to seeing you again back here at Open Your Eye, and we do have some closing stuff, but once again, I had to reload, so I got to do the whole share screen all over again, so it might take like 2 seconds for it to actually load and start playing, but hopefully we get it off without too many hitches. And in the meantime, peace out, take her easy, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, y'all.
Opinions of the organizations may